Hello everyone, welcome to Kitchens Conversations. Today we will be talking about 5 things to look out for when choosing your sink. Today my guest is Jason Burgess from 1810 Sinks. He's the contracts director. He brings with him a wealth of industry experience, having worked in the kitchen industry for over 20 years in a ranging of positions, ranging from business development through to senior level management. 1810 supplies an ever-growing range of kitchen sinks, taps, and accessories directly to the independent kitchen retailers and contract kitchen sectors. Their innovative and contemporary designs are amongst the best in the market, offering an extensive choice in regular and more unique sizes in terms of both configurations. Good morning, Jason. Welcome.
Hi, Inga. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
So, as I mentioned, we will be talking about the sinks today. And it is a very important area within the kitchen. And it's extremely important to me because I'm responsible for cleaning and washing up when my husband cooks. So I'm really interested to know more about it. And I'm pretty sure that there are many of people who will be watching will be also very interested and would like to know more. And there is a huge range of products. So if we could start from actually talking about the types of the sinks which are available on the market.
Yeah, so there's more and more configurations of sink as things develop. So from single bowl to bowl and a half to double bowl, really. And sinks with drainers or sinks without drainers. We'll talk later about installation methods and how that ties into the size and bowl configuration. But one thing, certainly over the last few years, we have noticed that there's a move to a want for larger bowls. So certainly in the sector of the market that I work predominantly in the contract sector, there's definitely been a move towards having a larger single bowl sink within the kitchen. But also there are options out there to have a large main bowl with a small single bowl connected. So there's a real wide variety of options available there. And also with 1810, part of our product offer that we bring to the market is also a bespoke service as well. So
yes, that's quite important that you actually can make a product to order, and if the sizes within your range, which are already very wide, are not what the clients are looking for, you can actually produce something specific.
Yeah, and there's also options on bowl depth as well. So it's not just the bowl configuration. There's variances in depth of bowl from shallower through to extra deep as well. So shallower bowls can service the adapted sort of market where there's a need for leg clearances for wheelchairs and things like that.
That's really good to know that, you can adapt the product to the special needs of people and create it around their needs. And, it really helps with the independence and working in the kitchen by themselves. So that is fantastic to mention. There are also different sizes as well, so we're talking about very small bowls or very big. And as you mentioned, the fact that people use dishwashers became a standard nowadays in the kitchen. So therefore sinks, the traditional way of using the sink where you had to do the washing up and everything, it's almost gone now. Most of the thing goes into the dishwasher. Therefore, that's why it could be that the markets change and the single bowl is much more popular of a larger size, because now the sink is mostly used if someone hasn't got the laundry room or kind of utility for washing the larger sizes, like the oven trays, or things that can't go into the dishwasher. So I think it's just actually very useful to mention that.
Exactly that. And the one thing that people tend not to put in their dishwasher, or need to give a pre-clean before putting in the dishwasher, is the larger items. And that's where the bigger bowl sizes really come into play to make the space more usable for day-to-day use.
So while we're talking about sizes and kind of different configurations, we also probably need to touch on the finishes and materials. Again, there is a very wide range of finishes and materials. So what do you offer in your range, and what are the materials we could consider?
Yeah, I mean, there are, as you rightly saying, there's many different materials available in the market. The market is still predominantly driven by stainless steel, but then you have there's a want for color also, and that's where quartz sinks can come into play. So again, we have a range of different configurations and installation options of quartz sinks.
You mentioned you've got a really wide range of the stainless steel in colors, in metal colors. So you do brass, you do copper.
So I was going to move on to the thing that's come through in the last couple of years on stainless steel is a process known as PVD, physical vapor deposition, which gives you the ability to color a stainless steel sink. So as you rightly say, in the range at the moment, we have got brass, we have copper, and we have gunmetal. And we have new colours coming through into next year as well. So we're looking at different colour options. First of which to come into the range during next year will be a matte black finish, because we see that as a real trend at the moment.
Yes, it is. Yes. At the moment, it's very big. Well, it's both kitchens and bathrooms, but within the kitchens, you've got less, or you've got a sink and a tap, but actually having a black sink, it would be actually really, really great. There are other materials. So, there is ceramics, there is silk granite, which is also kind of a combination of like a stone looking, and then we've got cast iron. So each of them's got different pros and cons, and the usage is slightly different. So is there anything we should kind of, in terms of the durability and maintenance of the product, is there anything we should kind of you take into consideration and think about?
I think with all materials, they require care and maintenance, and people hear stainless steel and they think indestructible, and it's far from the truth. Stainless steel will scratch if you use the wrong products in cleaning. It will impact the finish and the durability of the stainless steel. But as long as you follow the directed care instructions that we provide and others in the marketplace provide with the product, then you will the product will sustain for an appropriate period of time.
Yes, and I think it's just important to make that was quite important point. Those things are not that you can do anything with them. I think whoever decides to go for a certain finish and material, it would be good for people to understand what that in terms of the maintenance and durability means. And as you mentioned, stainless steel it's very heat resistant, but it does scratch and shows watermarks with some people, really. So then ceramics could be a good option, but then ceramics, if you drop anything, and if people work with the cast iron pots and pans, then we need to be careful.
Yeah, so we have a
So,
fire. So our ceramic offering is actually fire clay. So it's a fire clay
right.
material. So it is very, very durable. Um, the thing that comes into play when you're looking at that, though, is it does have a certain aesthetic in terms of
Yeah.
the design you're looking to achieve, which we'll move on to discuss, I guess, during the conversation.
Yes, yes. Also, what I wanted to ask, because a sink takes some space from the work surface, and it's a hole in the work surface which can be used in way or another. But there are some accessories that could actually help us to either extend the work surface or use it, or add a little bit of different function to the sink itself. So what would you mention? What would you think is good to consider when buying a sink? Is there any accessories that we could actually incorporate into the design?
Well, I think you're right. Over time, the sink area has become a real um, functional part of the kitchen. You do more in and around the area than just wash up. You are doing more preparation and things like that. Within our product portfolio, we have a range of sinks called options, which is
Yeah,
designed specifically to take a suite of accessories. And the accessories will sit at two different levels within the sink, either level with the worktop or slightly below. And those accessories range from a chopping board, colanders, food preparation pots, really wide, and it does make, and there's different configurations of the sink as well, either single bowl, two large bowls, or a bowl with a drainer built
yes,
in. And that type of product, really, if you're a cook and you're really going to use your kitchen to its maximum ability, those kind of products are definitely something you should consider. Also, where you're undermounting a sink or insetting a sink into a solid surface, or mainly undermounting, there's been a bit of a move away from putting drainage grooves into
yeah,
the work surface. So we have a range of mobile drainer options that can sit on the worktop
yeah,
when you're using them for that facility. When you're not, they can sit within the sink to use as an additional preparation area. And if you want it out of the way completely, they're
very
small
soft.
and neat, and they go into a cupboard. So
Yeah, because
they're really
many
popular.
many of the clients just find in the way that yes, we don't want the draining grooves because of the maintenance and also the look of the kitchen, but we all find ourselves in putting kitchen cloths and placing things on top of it, and then we need to, they're constantly something there that cannot go into the dishwasher, like pans or
Yeah.
something that you don't want to, or crystal glasses or something that really needs to be taken care of. And yes, I find it a very good idea to have like a mobile or remote drainer that you can actually put next to it, and then put underneath the sink or in a cupboard next to it. So I think it's a brilliant idea, and actually it's gonna be very, very useful and helpful.
So also alongside the sink range that we have a range of troughs that will fit within the work surface area as well, and they can take different accessory configurations, from knife blocks to drainage racks to chopping boards. But then you can remove those accessories and use them, for parties as an ice bucket, because they have a drainage point on them as
Yeah,
well.
you can have
So
your wines and champagne.
yeah, and
That
they're
would be
really popular.
cool.
Yeah.
In terms of the types of the installation, I think you mentioned about it. So what are the ways of installation, and is there anything that our audience could consider in terms of the design and in terms of the functionality when considering different types ways of installation for the sinks?
Yeah, so the two main traditional installation types are inset or undermount, and undermount tends to be the most desirable, especially when a solid surface or a stone or a quartz is being used. But we have some products within our range that can do both as well. So you'll have sinks that would appear at first glance to be modeled as an inset style sink with a draining board, but they can still be undermounted as well and look fantastic when done in that way. And it gives you the facility of a draining board built in, but still with that undermounted look to the product. Another product we have available is a product called Axis, which is a unique installation method to 1810. Essentially it's undermounted, but then the sink itself is fully clad with the worktop material.
Well, that's something that I really would like to talk to you about, because that's, as you mentioned, is unique to 1810, and actually we at Amberth just love using it. We've got it on the display, and it's actually something that offers us a lot of flexibility in terms of the design.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us a little bit more about that product? How does it really work? So tell me more. Is it just the base, or is it like a full sink? And how that's been developed?
So that's the beauty of it. It is still a full sink. So it is a full body stainless steel sink.
That gives us the full kind of water protection and leak. So if there is anything going wrong with the cladding in terms of the corners, the silicone goes and it hasn't been replaced, it cracks, then we're still safe and we don't have to worry about any water leaking behind the cupboard, do we?
Exactly that, and that's the uniqueness of it, and really one of the key drivers behind the design of it, because it is a full body stainless steel sink that's adhered to the underside of the worktop in the normal way of an undermounted sink. Yeah. It's finished then with the cladding around the four vertical faces, so the base of the sink remains exposed, and there's a step detail built into the in the manufacturing process of the sink that allows the material to sit flush then in the bottom of the sink.
So that is a very clever solution, because when you talk cladding, then okay, it goes all the way down to the base, but no, it actually gives us a really nice like an abstand within the sink where the cladding sits on top. So correct, it's not like all the the dirt and all kind of the disposal, what we put in the sink collects around that area. We can still easily wipe it off and keep it nice and clean. And also, depending on which product we use, because I understand that it can be used with corian, it can be used with quartz, marble as well. Probably any product that it's, are there any different thicknesses what we kind of can use?
So there are two different thicknesses within the range. So to take thinner or thicker materials. So there's a 26 mil or a 16 mil step for 16 mil being for solid surface, and some of the new kind of porcelain 12 mil porcelain products that are available on the market for worktops, and then the 26 mil step for the more traditional sort of 20 mil quartz or granite type installation.
So what I understand, if I understand it right, which one would you use for which? So for example, if you've got a porcelain of 12 mil, we would probably go for the 16 mil edge.
Correct, yeah.
And then 20 for 30 or 20 plus. So if we're using a slab of 20 millimeters, then we would
use the 26 mil stick.
26. Yeah. So then it can be built up at the back of kind of
it's just
fabricator.
Yeah, once you've got the material and then the adhesive, that kind of sits and works with that
Yeah,
dimension. There are differing options on installation within Axis as well, so you can undermount it. So it's
yeah,
again, you would see a polished cutout around the top edge and a slight step into where the cladding starts
yeah.
at the top of the sink, or you can fully integrate it where the material is mitered to the top surface, which again is the more aesthetically pleasing option, but is slightly more involved in terms of the fabrication process.
Well, actually, that's one of the things that I wanted to mention, because the mitre option is not really, I understand that there is a minimum radius required around the sink. So most of the fabricators just kind of puts it, and then we've got a little bit of overhang and then the cladded, which actually gives people the option to keep it nice and clean around the sink as well, doesn't it? So it's
but both options look fantastic. It's down to personal choice and material being used and capability of the individual fabricator.
yeah, well, it's also the descriptions from the stone fabricators and manufacturers, what kind of is the minimum radius for them for the cutouts, and I think that's why I believe it's really important to consider sink and sink configurations as a part of the whole design,
Indeed.
because that impacts different aspects of the design, and it impacts, and that has to be all thought through carefully to make sure that the final result is what people really expect. And in terms of, if we go with certain finish of the worktop, then we may not be able to mitre because the fabricator or the manufacturer requires a minimum radius. And that's why I really, at Amberth, it's quite important that when we propose initial design, we understand what people want to achieve, and then we can take that into consideration, and we learn during the process of design how to do it, and what is possible, what is not. In terms of what do we have to consider, what should we consider in terms of choosing the sink for our kitchen?
I think there's various things, and there's not a one size fits all for. Hence why companies like ourselves have such a wide range. But I think it's what your day-to-day function is going to be around the sink area. Is it? Are you going to be doing lots of food preparation and that balance between functionality and aesthetic as well. So yeah, there's, as I say, it's down to how the individual feels that they want to use that space. Then the space needs to be a functional part of the kitchen. But that also then ties into colours and finish and how that all links through with the aesthetic of the finished product.
Yes, that's very important point. I think sink is one of the three, which is fridge, hob, and sink from the magic triangle, that it's used the most in the kitchen, and we have to be sure that we can use it in a way that it's easy and functional, but also it supports the design and makes sure that it's within the design and makes it cohesive and really pulls it nicely together. So one of the aspects that we are discussing through all our kitchen conversations, and it's very important and very up to date at the moment, is the sustainability. We at Amberth, we believe that is extremely important part of the conversation, and the construction and kitchens, bedroom and bathrooms industry is one of the industries to look at. And for us working within the industry, it's also important to be considerate and actually looking at new solutions and new developments that would help us to save the planet and actually makes the product more sustainable and environmentally friendly. So is there anything you can mention that 1810 brings into the market or brings into the industry that actually supports the idea of sustainability? And are there any functions of your product or anything related to the production that you could actually mention?
Yeah, there's from a sustainability perspective with our sinks, there's probably three key points to consider. So one thing, or first thing, is we're really driving improvement in the production process in terms of minimizing waste and increasing the volume of any waste that is produced that goes back into the supply chain through recycling.
That's brilliant.
And that's something that that we are looking at with our production partners and the factories that we work with. I think also because of the quality of our products, we pride ourselves on being leaders in terms of quality, and with that comes longevity in terms of the life of the product. So replacement is not as key a issue as it could be with others, because
and that's, I must say, it's extremely important for Amberth, and that's one of the reasons when we're looking to choose specific suppliers and work with specific product, that is because we believe the quality of the product is quite a big part of the environment awareness, and the fact that all our products are high end and provide a long shelf life for our clients. It's extremely important, but it's also the fact that they can enjoy the product and it makes them proud of their own space. It's and something unique, like your product offers them this uniqueness. There's the fact that they can have their own sink in a way, really, by choosing the base, by choosing the worktop, if they can clad it, that creates uniqueness and creates individuality for our clients, which very often they're looking for.
Yeah, and the third thing from our product perspective on sustainability, again, is a unique feature to 1810, and it's something called InsuSound. So every sink that we offer is coated with a coating that we call InsuSound, which insulates the bowl of the sink, and that really does help from a sustainability point of view. So if you are washing up, it will keep the water warm for longer, so you're having to replace it and use less water, or replace it less, sorry, and use less water in the long term. But also conversely, like with troughs, if you are filling it up with ice for a party, it will have that effect as well of keeping the ice colder for longer and it not melting.
Well, that's brilliant. I must say, that's fantastic function. You don't have to have the wine buckets all over. You just got a really nice prop, and you use your wine and put it in, and then everyone can help themselves. That's really, especially when when you've got it on the island, or when you've got somewhere in terms of that it's in a central point where people are gathering around, and people are gathering around kitchens, and
it's a social space. It's
it is very much so, very much so.
Yeah, and then an add-on benefit of the InsuSound as well is it not only insulates the sink, it increases the deadening of the sound of any water when you're filling a sink up. So it has many benefits. And it's a real feature of our product that we want people to be aware of, and a key differential.
Well, yes, it's a really big difference in terms of your product to other products that are offered, and it's not only and water saving, and it is very important, and it's going to become more and more important in time. So if we could just recap what we already discussed, what I would like to do, as we're talking about 5 things to look out when choosing your own worktop, your own sinks, sorry. Yes, we're talking about sinks, worktops, So 5 things to look out for when choosing your own sink would be, so if we can just go through them. There are different styles in terms of the arrangements. So we've got single bowl, double bowl, 1.5, with the drainer or without the drainer. Then we looked at the materials. So we looked at stainless steel. There is matte steel coming onto the market, which is quite an interesting. There is ceramic, steel granite, cast iron. We've got porcelain and cladded in stone, which is by 1810. And also Korean sinks, and stone fabricators also introduced. But there is also very wide range of colors and finishes in terms of even stainless steel colors. But we also talked about the accessories, which I think it's quite important part of the design and also considering for future. And there's a number of, it's the colander, there's the drainers, chopping boards, baskets. Anything else that I missed from that list?
No, not really. I don't think so. Apart from the sort of preparation pots that we have with the options, so
and
they're quite useful.
Drainers we've mentioned as well. We've got the drainers, but
drainers,
separate drainers. That I think is a very good idea. And in terms of the next point was we're talking about the styles or ways of installation, which we also need to consider, and that's where worktops come. It's inserted or undermounted or cladded. So I think
one we actually missed there is something we call IF, which is almost, so it's an inset but almost flush line to the worktop.
So that's
it's kind of a hybrid between the two.
Exactly. That's actually a really good point, because that also helps with the protection of the worktop's edges. So very often, which we've mentioned with another kitchen conversation when we were talking about a worktop, that the edge around the sink is one of the most fragile parts of the worktop. So it's actually the IF, which is inserted flush. Is that what this stands for? It kind of means that it's a nicely flush fitted, and it gives you the color around the sink, and it protects the most vulnerable part of the worktop. And so. And lastly, we were talking about the sizes, finishes, and types and the style. So I think that's actually all what we've got. And today, I hope everyone found it very interesting and everyone learned a lot. Of course, if there are any questions or people would like to know more about 1810 or see the sink in situ in our studio, please contact us on email or look at our website. Thank you very much, Jason, for joining me today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
That was great. That was a great meeting, and thank you. We could use your expertise and knowledge.
No problem at all. Thank you for the time.
Bye.